How far does Lionel Messi run in a single game? Revealed coming up. I've actually heard a few people ask the question, how far does Lionel Messi run in a game? Now, if you watch him off of the ball, it would be easy to think he is lazy as he doesn't seem to run as much as the other players. But actually, there's a reason for this. We're going to look at how much ground he covers in a game and the reason for his unique approach to the game in this article. So let's get started. How far does Lionel Messi run in a game? Lionel Messi runs around 8 kilometers or 5 miles per game, which is considerably less than most of his compatriots who tend to be in and around the 10 kilometer or 6.2 miles mark. He does spend a lot of each game walking, but that is for a reason. He is analyzing the opposition and thinking, watching, waiting, and getting himself into the best positions for himself and his teammates. The stats on how much Lionel Messi runs in a game do make for an interesting reading. The data is nearly exclusively from Champions League games as it is the only competition that releases extensive running information, so let's get through it. How much did Lionel Messi run at the 2014 World Cup? Stats for the 2014 World Cup in Brazil showed that Messi had the lowest work rate of all the players excluding goalkeepers when their teams were defending. He also had the second lowest work rate of all players when their team were attacking. How much did Lionel Messi run in the 2014-2015 Champions League? During Barca's Champions League quarterfinal with Atletico Madrid, Messi ran 6.8 kilometers, or about 4.2 miles, in the 95 minutes of play. This was only just over half of the distance run by Koke, who scored the winning goal for Atletico, which knocked Barca out, and only 1.4 kilometers, 0.9 miles, more than Barcelona's own goalkeeper, Jose Manuel Pinto. How much did Lionel Messi run in the 2015-2016 Champions League? Messi covered the second least amount of distance in the 2015-2016 Champions League amongst outfield players with more than 180 minutes of playing time. He covered 7.9 kilometers, 5 miles on average. In the round of 16 tie against Arsenal, Messi ran at least 1 kilometer, 0.6 miles, less than any other Barcelona outfield player, and a full 3 kilometers, 1.85 miles less than Andre Iniesta and Ivan Rakitic. But he did score both goals in a 2-0 win. How much did Lionel Messi run in the 2017-2018 Champions League? In the 2017-2018 Champions League, Messi averaged under 8 kilometers, 5 miles per 90 minutes, far less than any other attacker. Roberto Firmino, for instance, averaged 11 kilometers, 6.8 miles per 90 minutes for Liverpool, and even Cristiano Ronaldo averaged over 9 kilometers, 5.6 miles per game for Real Madrid. How much did Lionel Messi run in the 2018-2019 Champions League? At the quarter-final stage of the competition, Swiss newspaper Neue Zeitung released information that showed Messi ran the second fewest meters per minute of all players in the Champions League that year. Messi averaged 90 meters per 60 seconds, and only Manchester United's Eric Bailly came in lower with 88.2 meters per minute. Other selected forwards in comparison per 60 seconds, Ronaldo with 102 meters, Robert Lewandowski with 109.6 meters, Neymar at 112.2 meters, Harry Kane at 117.5 meters, and Thomas Muller at 124.8 meters. How much did Lionel Messi run in the 2017 El Classico? This is another game that is often referred to when the question of why does Lionel Messi always play at a walking pace comes up. Messi covered around 8 kilometers, 5 miles during the game and was walking for 83.1% of that time, jogging for 10.8%, running for 4.95%, and sprinting for 1.15%. Just to add, Messi scored and assisted in the game as Barcelona beat their rivals 3-0. So the question remains, why does Lionel Messi always play at a walking pace? Okay, so maybe the word always is a bit of an exaggeration, but the stats do prove that Messi generally runs less than almost any other player. But why? He hasn't always played this way. A little unfairly, all of the statistics I have referred to above are from 2014 onwards, 10 years after Messi made his Barcelona debut. This isn't a case of me being selective with my data, more of a case of information prior to then being much harder to come by. Messi, however, hasn't always played in this way. There was a big shift in the 2009-2010 season with Pep Guardiola's second season in charge of Barcelona. His first season had seen Messi drift in more frequently from the wing to occupy an almost free role, finding space between Samuel Eto'o and Thierry Henry. From 2009 to 2010 onwards, he took on the now famous false nine role, playing in a much more central role. Messi was told to conserve his energy as he had been suffering from muscle fatigue due to excessive running. And that is when Messi started running less, but arguably his value to the team kept increasing. His teams tailor their tactics to suit him. Most teams build their game and their tactics around their best players. Now, Messi isn't just his team's best player, he is arguably the world's best. Each coach knows Messi has the ability to single-handedly win a game with a moment of brilliance. And this allows Messi to play the game that suits him best, and the rest of the team works with him to achieve this. He is conserving his energy. The most simplistic way to look at his lack of running is the fact that the old adage, work smart, not hard, is one that Messi adopts. He conserves his energy for those forward bursts and mazy dribbles which have the most impact. If he were to spend a lot of energy continually pressing players and chasing down the ball, it would take away from the aspects of the game we all know and admire him for. When you see Messi running around during a match, he nearly always has the ball at his feet. He is analyzing his opposition. Did you know of the 769 goals Lionel Messi has scored for club and country, he has never scored in the first 2 minutes of a game? It is pretty remarkable, really. But not when you hear the story of journalist Simon Cooper attending a Barcelona game, Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid in Camp Nou. An unnamed Barcelona official urged him to focus entirely on Messi for the first few minutes of the game. Cooper said Messi was just wandering around the pitch to all intents and purposes ignoring the ball. In the first few minutes, he just walks across the field, the Barcelona official explained to Cooper. He is looking at each opponent, where the guy positions himself, and how their defense fits together. Only after doing that does he start to really play. So whilst he may spend a lot of time walking, that is for good reason. He's constantly making calculations and observing the opposition. Pep Guardiola further expanded on this in his autobiography in 2017. You have to pay attention when Messi moves away. He spends his match walking. He's always analyzing the situation. When he receives the ball, he has a complete analysis of space and time in his head. He knows where every player is, and boom. So although we don't realize it, Messi is not just one of the best players ever because of what he does when he has the ball, but also what he does when he doesn't have it. He is always in the right position, thinking, watching, and waiting. If he were to spend time and energy chasing down players and the ball, he wouldn't be in the right position to do the amazing things he does when he has the ball. To quote the great Johan Cruyff, when you play a match, it is statistically proven that players actually have the ball 3 minutes on average. So the most important thing is, what do you do during those 87 minutes when you do not have the ball? That is what determines whether you're a good player or not. You play football with your head, and your legs are there to help you. He is creating space. Messi knows his sheer presence on the pitch draws attention from opposing players. So even when Messi is walking around in advanced areas of the pitch, he is winning his team space and territory in those parts of the pitch by dragging players with him. This was most evident from 2014 to 2017 when the Barcelona forward line was comprised of Messi, Suarez, and Neymar. The three would spread out wide across the pitch and occupy players, creating space for each other. By not chasing the game, Messi is creating this space for himself and his teammates. It is evident that Lionel Messi runs less than most other players during a game. He generally seems to cover around 8 kilometers, 5 miles per game, whereas most players fall within the 10 kilometers to 11 kilometers, 6.2 miles to 6.8 miles range. However, his impact is considerably more. This seems to be down to his unique talent when he has the ball, but equally his ability to analyze the opposition and know equally where to be and when to ensure he has the most impact when he does get the ball. So don't take the fact that he runs less than most players as a sign of laziness. If anything, it is another example of his footballing intelligence.